Sean Cullen with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. In this episode, I'll be comparing two juicers side by side. This juicer, the company reached out to me. It's called the Housnat Centrifugal Ejection juicer. This is a high-speed juicer, and it's actually at a very affordable price point. At present time, I think it's around $50. And in this episode, I hope to share with you guys, the differences you're going to get when you buy like a $50 juicer versus a juicer that is, definitely on the lower end, because actually I specialize in selling the high-end juicers. For those of you guys that are serious about making health changes, losing weight, with the higher-end juicers. That being said, this is one of the lower-end juicers we sell that actually is a nice, solid performer. This is the Shine XL juicer. And I like it because, number one, it is super simple, super easy to clean. There's only 3 parts to clean when you're done. Number two, it has a nice 3-inch wide feed chute that makes it extra easy to juice. The other thing I like is that it is backed up by Tribest, who has been in business for over 30 years, and this has a full 3-year warranty with US-based customer support. I know most of the customer service representatives at Tribest, and they do an outstanding job. Meanwhile, over on this guy, the Housnat juicer. This is a juicer you must buy on Amazon, and their customer service staff is in China. And the only way to contact them is through the Amazon, contact form to contact the seller there. In addition, I am not aware of any kind of warranty on this machine other than your 30-day return policy that is on Amazon. They don't list a warranty in the listing. They don't list a warranty in the instruction manual. So that's, you buy this machine, you own it. After 30 days, if it breaks, I think you're just out of luck, right? I encourage you guys to buy machines and items that'll basically last for a while. And this machine has, once again, that 3-year warranty. Of course, that being said, other Tribest machines can have up to a 15-year warranty, as with the other more higher-end juicers that I would encourage you guys to look into. If you're serious about juicing, check my channel for videos on all the other high-end juicers. Most of them have a 15-year warranty. So yeah, 30 days is just totally crazy to me. It's basically you're buying something that is throwaway, something that you could get at a big box store. So while both of these juicers juice and most shoes you wear cover your feet, shoes are a lot different depending on what they're designed or made for. For example, running shoes are great for running, but probably wouldn't be the best to go to a wedding because you're just going to look really odd and out of place, unless you're a millionaire from Silicon Valley. That being said, juicers are the same. This is a high-speed centrifugal ejection juicer. They tend to oxidize the juice more. They tend to be a lot louder, and they tend not to perform well on things like leafy greens and fruits. Actually, on root vegetables, it actually pulls its own weight in terms of yield, but nonetheless, because these machines run at a high speed, high RPM, they do oxidize the juice more and cause nutrient degradation to your juices. The Housnat actually has 3 speeds, which is a little bit unique. It has a pulse speed for like a burst of power. It has a speed 1 for the softer fruits, which I think is like between 12,000 and 15,000 RPMs, which is actually quite fast. They have a speed 2 for maybe the hard vegetables. I think that's between 15 to 18,000 revolutions per minute. Meanwhile, over on this side, the Shine XL juicer runs at a low and slow 40 revolutions per minute. So that's like 375 times slower than this machine. And that actually brings me to the next point, is that one of the main benefits to a high-speed juicer is that you'll be done in an instant. Boom, you'll be done so quick you can barely say whatchamacallit. Whereas in a slow juicer, it will take you a little bit more time. But what you guys are going to gain in time with a high-speed machine, you will be losing in those valuable phytonutrients and oxygen-sensitive, phytochemicals that are in the juice that, in my opinion, are one of the biggest components and responsible for literally the healing power and nutrition power of your juices. So you're basically sacrificing nutrition to save some time. And I want to let you guys know that you are worth it. You are worth adding a little bit of extra time to juice so that you have higher nutrition, more antioxidants, and more potential for the juices to actually do in your body what you want it to do. Whether that is lose weight, get healthier, whatever it is. I am a big fan of the slow juicers. You know, not only because I've taste tested the different juices, but also I've seen the results and how much literally money you're throwing down the drain when you get wet pulp and you're throwing away pulp that did not get juiced because you decided to buy an inexpensive juicer. So I want to save you guys the trouble from buying an inexpensive juicer. And that's why I'm making this video for you guys today, to show you guys the differences between a high-speed and a slow juicer. This is not the first high-speed versus slow juicer video comparison I've done. I've done plenty of them. Link down below to one of my favorites. It's the Breville versus Nama J2 juicer, and the Breville is actually a high-end centrifugal ejection juicer, and I'm not really a fan of those either. You know, it's definitely the Brevilles have a better build quality, and I prefer to get a Breville over the Housnat, of course, but nonetheless, you know, I'm not a fan of the high-speed machines. Once you taste the juices and the differences between a low-speed and a high-speed juice, I think you will be convinced too, because the low-speed juice, if you did a poll of 9 out of 10 people would say they probably prefer the low-speed juice because it just tastes a lot more rich, thick, and nutritious. In any case, let's go ahead and explain how each of these machines work. First, we'll start with the Housnat. This is a high-speed centrifugal ejection, so we got this little latch arm here. We have a pusher. Now this feed chute is 2.5 inches in diameter. Many high-speed juicers have a 3-inch diameter feed chute. What happens after you put the produce into this machine, it basically goes in and gets ground up or shredded up by this blade right in here, if we could get it out. And so this is basically like a grater, like a cheese grater you would grate, but then it basically shreds things up into a fine size. And then after it shreds it up, this is running at high speed, so through centrifugal force, the pulp is then flung against the sides of this screen, the juice comes out the screen, and then the pulp then basically travels out the back of this plastic housing. Now to me, this plastic housing is not designed very well, and as a matter of fact, in the instruction manual it says only juice this much before you must stop and clean the juicer, because to me this housing looks very squared off, and that's a really good way with all the corners and everything to get pulp stuck in there and then actually not drop through. The Breville, if you look at the Breville, has a nice more curved you know, top that actually helps funnel things in and into the collection bin. So then you have the collection bin where the pulp will go into, and of course as the juice is being flung out the screen, it goes into this juicing bowl that then collects the juice in the juicing bowl and then basically pours out the spout in the front. I guess this machine, they claim it has like a 400 watt improved motor compared to maybe other juicers, you know, a predecessor to this. It is easy to clean and there's relatively little parts to clean, and it is easy to assemble, so let's just go ahead and drop that in there. While this is stainless steel on the outside, which looks nice, it's clad, so it's just basically a thin piece of stainless steel to make it look nice. Everything else in the juicer is plastic except for the stainless steel screen. And the thing I want to let you guys know is when you guys get a juicer with a, you know, a high-speed machine with blades, right, you guys got to replace these blades every once in a while because the blades go dull and then your performance of the juicer diminishes over time. This is not really an issue when you buy a high-end Breville because they do sell parts for their machines, but I'm highly confident that Housnat does not sell you guys any parts should you need to replace your juicing screen. And I would probably also put money on the fact that before you dulled your blade, the juicer is likely to break on you, as some of the Amazon reviews state. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and put in the juicing screen, put on the main housing there, and click that back into place, and when you've assembled it correctly, the machine will turn on. Let's go ahead and show you guys how much easier the Shine XL juicer is to assemble and how it works exactly. So actually on the Shine XL juicer, as we take this apart, you guys are going to see there's a nice 3-inch wide feed chute, and compare that to the 2.5-inch wide feed chute on the Housnat. This is a lot larger. This has actually a dual feeding system, so it has a flip gate that you could put a whole apple in here, tomato, beet, drop that in there and it'll basically drop in the machine, or you could use this center, you know, chute here to basically put long carrots or celery in there, for example. As you put the produce in the machine, it goes down the hopper and then it runs into this auger, which is rotating inside the housing there. As the produce comes down the auger literally crushes and squeezes and literally cold presses out the produce, and the juice comes out. So instead of shredding like the Housnat, it's actually just crushing and squeezing and grinding. as it crushes and squeezes and grinds, the juice then comes out these stainless steel holes, and then the juice flows out the front of this juicing bowl that is BPA free. The pulp comes out over on this side and the juice comes out this side, and you have a spout to close so the juice doesn't drip when you are done. In addition, on the bottom of this, there is actually a little silicone plug. I'll pull out for you guys so you guys can see it. This silicone plug is very important because it actually provides some back pressure on the produce inside the machine so that this doesn't free flow out, and that means you guys are gonna get a higher yield, which means in the end you guys could use less produce to make more juice. So yeah, make sure that is plugged in when you're all done. So like, that's the thing, look, there are 3 parts to clean on this machine when you're done. With this machine you got the housing, the bowl, and the juicing blade, as well as the pusher. You know, I don't recommend you guys use a pusher because everything just drops in here and will juice rather easily. In addition, the other thing is that on this machine you got the whole juicing screen you'll need to scrub out and make sure it's clean, which is a lot of area, and on this machine there's a lot less area of the screen, so that makes this machine a lot easier to clean. This machine also very easy to assemble. We're just going to go ahead and drop this main housing in place, drop the auger in place, and put this top on, and then lock it into place, and we are all set up and ready to juice. And that's how these machines work, right? This machine is a lot more effective at juicing things like fruits and leafy greens, maybe not quite as effective in terms of yield as the Housnat, but this machine will create a higher quality juice with more of those valuable phytonutrients that you guys are probably after. I think the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and do a sound test. I know some of you guys are sound sensitive. All right, so now let's go ahead and do a sound test. So let's go ahead and turn on the Housnat to speed number 2. Turn on my sound meter. Alright, so this maxed out at 84 decibels when it was running at the high speed. Next, let's go ahead and turn on the Shine XL juicer, the low speed juicer, and see how loud this one is. This one's peaking out at 71 decibels. So that's, you know, a good at least 10 decibels quieter than the Housnat. So, you know, you might want to wear some earmuffs when juicing in the Housnat because it is so loud. All right, so the next test I want to do for you guys today is actually we're going to go ahead and juice pomegranates and sweet limes in both machines to ensure we have a fair fight. We're going to go ahead and first do a weigh-in. So now we're all set up and ready to juice, and let's go ahead and first do a weigh-in to make sure we have a fair fight. All right, over on the Shine XL juicer, looks like we got 892 grams total for the sweet limes and the pomegranate. Over on the Housnat side, looks like we got 892 grams of, once again, the pomegranate and the sweet limes. Showing you guys on both scales, 892 on both scales, confirming that we have a fair fight. So now that we got the weigh-in out of the way, let's go ahead and remove the scales out of the picture. And the other thing I want to do for you guys today is we're going to go ahead and time to see how long it takes to juice in each of these juicers. So next I'll be juicing in the Housnat using speed number 1. So let's go ahead and hit the start on here. And let's go ahead and get juicing in the Housnat. Put a couple pomegranates in there. And then followed by citrus, followed by some more pomegranates. And we're going to go ahead and speed this part of the video up for you guys and save you guys some time. Alright, we're done juicing in the Housnat, and look at that, it took basically 2 minutes to juice in the Housnat. So good thing for that, because in the instruction manual of the Housnat it says the maximum runtime of the Housnat is 2 minutes, and after you run it for 2 minutes you're supposed to let it rest for more than 2 minutes to cool down, because I guess they put a very inexpensive motor in this machine that may overheat and then cause you problems. In addition, they also want you to clean out this machine when you're done juicing. You know, after you juice a certain amount, otherwise it can be problematic. So anyways, with that, let's go ahead and start juicing in the Shine XL juicer next. All right, let's go ahead and turn on the Shine and get juicing so it's a lot more quiet, and we're just gonna take handfuls of the produce and drop it in. Maybe like a handful or two of pomegranates, then we're gonna follow it up. Oops. We're gonna follow it up with the sweet lime. And I think we'll speed this part of the video up for you guys to save you guys some time. Alright, that was the last sweet lime going into the Shine XL juicer. It worked without a hitch, and as you guys can see, look at this. Insane, we actually beat the time that we juiced in the Housnat. Now, you know, once you're done put the last item in a slow juicer, you want to let the machine process and work through the produce. So we're still technically not done yet. How you'll know when you're done is when the pulp stops moving out the port here, which looks like it's pretty much stopped moving, and the juice stops flowing. So at this point, I think we were going to go ahead and hit the stop button. And look at that, we're right at 2 minutes, and this is no problem for the Shine because the Shine juicer has a full 20-minute duty cycle. You could have made 10 times more than the juice I just made because you could run this machine for 20 minutes straight without stopping, so you could juice a lot more quantity of juice than the Housnat or other high-speed machines. All right, so always on both juicers, I do like to tip this up a little bit to see if we got any final drops or dribbles out of the machine on the Housnat, and then on the Shine XL juicer, tipping that right up. Now the other thing I will say is that on the Housnat, it slowed me down because I had to put items in and then cover the hole, because otherwise, and it still did splash at me, so that was a little bit inconvenient and a little bit made more of a mess. So anyways, let's go ahead and put these juices up front and center so you guys could learn and see the differences for yourselves. All right, let's go ahead and show you guys the differences in the juices. We'll start first with the Housnat. Over on the Housnat side, looks like we made pretty much just under 400 milliliters of juice in the Housnat, and then you'll see that we made literally like over 200 milliliters of the foam. That's the problem with the high-speed machine. The foam is basically oxidized juice. In addition, you know, you'll see the juice down below is nice and dark because we have some good separation on there. We're mostly extracting like the liquid out of the produce without a lot of particulate, which is good and bad. The particulate could be additional nutrients in your juice. That being said, the juice out of the Housnat will be smoother without much texture when it goes down. But meanwhile, let's take a look at the Shine juice. Look over in the Shine juice, oh my gosh, look at that. Insanity. So like on the Shine juicer XL, looks like we got about 600 milliliters of juice. So we got like a little bit over 200 more milliliters of juice out of the Shine than the Housnat. That's actually technically 50% more juice. And if you guys look on the top, I mean, yes, there's some air bubbles in there, right? But if you try to look on the side, like, okay, how much is the air bubble layer? There's like a very small air bubble layer on there, if you guys could see that. Once again, over on the Housnat, you know, it's just a big, thick layer of foam on the top of the juice that it made. All right, so next up, I want to go ahead and taste test the juices to share with you guys my thoughts on the different juices. First, we're going to go ahead and try the Housnat juice. We're pouring a little of the foam off the top and then also some of the juice off the bottom. Definitely nicer color once it kind of gets mixed up. Wow, that's decent. You know, it's a good solid juice. It's very, like, I would say more watery. Good flavor. I'm tasting the pomegranates because the pomegranates have like a more of a bitter-ish flavor. I don't know how to describe it. And the sweet limes basically taste like pretty much nothing. They're not really sweet like oranges, but they're not sour like regular limes are. I mean, if I drank this juice and I didn't have a reference point, I'd be like, wow, this juice is actually pretty good. Definitely nice and smooth. Next, let's go ahead and try the Shine XL juice. Wow, as I'm pouring it, I see it's a little bit thicker when it's pouring out. If you guys could look at that, it looks a little bit thicker too. So let's go ahead and try this now. Wow. Wow. Oh my gosh, this is insane. So this one tasted more bitter to me, but then smooth like water, right? Like, think pulp-free orange juice. This to me is not like pulpy orange juice, but it has more texture to it, a little bit more richness and thickness, and actually, it's sweet. Wow, this is a much more enjoyable juice to drink, and I know why this is, and I'll show you guys in a minute. It's because the way the juicers work to extract the nutrition out of the produce. Wow, that is amazing. So what I'll say is that you got 50% more juice with the Shine XL, and the juice tasted sweeter, not bitter. That's simply amazing, all right? Next, I want to show you guys actually the differences in the pulp that was generated for both machines. So first, over on the Shine XL, this is the pulp that was created from the Shine XL. You guys can see it's fairly broken down well. Next, let's go ahead and get the pulp out of the Housnat High-Speed machine. Look at this, there's pulp all over here, and this probably will clog up over time if you try to juice more. We're gonna just go ahead and scoop this down and get it on the tray here for you guys. All right, pulling out pieces of the Housnat. You guys can see just like a lot more pulp in the Housnat. All this pulp like collected in here that's coming right out. There's some pulp underneath the juicing screen as well. And now let's see what's actually in the collection bin here. Let's pour this out. All right, that's pretty impressive actually. Not a lot was in the bin actually at all. I'm feeling mostly the whole pomegranate seeds that actually did not get juiced. They just basically they're coming out whole. So now I'm going to show you guys what the pulps look like out of both the machines. Once again, here's the Shine XL, and then here is the Housnat juicer. And on the Shine XL, as I'm looking at it, basically you can't see any pomegranate seeds. The pomegranate seeds were literally crushed and ground up, and the pomegranate seeds were juiced, which actually is the reason why this juice is sweeter, because when the seeds are juiced, it basically adds a sweetness and some fats in there that make the juice taste a lot better. In addition, you know, all the sweet limes are basically just crushed up and squeezed. If we take this and squeeze it, we're basically squeezing out pulp with very little juice left in it. I'm not going to say this is bone dry, but it's very little moisture left in there. Now over on the Housnat, to compare these side by side, I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's a lot, basically all the little seeds of the pomegranates basically just got ejected out. They did not get broken up. They did not get crushed. The fats did not come out, nor did the sweetness out of the seeds. In addition, you're going to see a lot more bigger pieces of some of the sweet limes that did not get juiced. And if we pick this pulp up, let's go ahead and squeeze that. Look at that. We could squeeze more juice out of this pulp than the Shine XL pulp. And that's why the Shine XL made 50% more juice. So hopefully after watching this episode, you guys learned the difference between an inexpensive high-speed machine, and a Housnat is not the only one on the market. There are so many high-speed machines, and most people on YouTube, unfortunately, are using the high-speed machines that, in my opinion, are grossly inferior to some of the newer juicing technologies that are out there, such as the Shine XL running at 40 RPMs, whereas this one runs like 15,000 to 18,000 RPMs, like 400 times faster. It's 10 decibels louder, made 50% less juice, made a juice that did not taste as sweet, did not extract the level of nutrition that the Shine XL did. Furthermore, this has a 30-day warranty, whereas this one has a 36-month warranty, a lot longer warranty on the Shine XL. So what I'm going to tell you guys at the end of this episode is this: if you guys are serious about your health and being able to juice and create a higher quality juice, and more importantly, save your money over time, because every time you juice in this machine, if you're getting, in this case, 50% less juice, right? You're wasting money because you're throwing money down the drain and nutrients that you're not extracting out of your produce. That's why I have my YouTube channel, to show you guys the best technologies to juice in. And, you know, I'll be the first to say, you know, the Shine is not the best technology to juice in. You want to check my other videos. There's a really good video I made, Best 3 Juicers of 2022. Now, those are definitely the higher end, but with those juicing extraction technologies, it's going to even surpass the Shine XL juicer. That being said, if you guys are looking for a budget juicer, between these two machines, I'm going to have to say, hands down, you should buy the Shine XL juicer. And of course, my company is called Discount Juicers, and it's called Discount Juicers for a reason, because I want to get you guys the best discount on the juicer you buy. So I'm going to hook you guys up with a 10% off coupon code you guys can use to buy the Shine XL directly at tribest.com. The coupon code is DJ10. Link is down below in the description, as well as pinned to the first comment, so you guys can get the Shine XL, save 10% off, get the 3-year warranty, make a higher quality juice that's quieter when it's running, and it's going to extract more juice out of your produce than a high-speed machine, and in the end, will save you guys lots of money. So if you guys enjoyed this episode comparing the high-speed Housnat to the low-speed Shine XL juicer, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Also, more importantly, please guys, share this with other people that are using high-speed machines, right? High-speed machines are, in general, always inferior to a low-speed machine, because a low-speed machine will generally make a higher quality juice that tastes a lot better, that does a better job of extraction in most cases. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on my new upcoming episodes. I have coming out about every 5 to 7 days. You don't know where I'll show up, what new juicers I'll be unboxing, or 2 juicers I'll be comparing to shed the light on juicers, so that you guys can have the truth about how the different juicers work and what you're getting when you actually buy a juicer instead of just buying a juicer blind. Make sure you click that subscribe button down below, and make sure you click the little bell to get notified as new videos come out. And finally, be sure to check my past episodes. The past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 600 episodes at this time on the channel dedicated to teach you guys all about juicers, my juicing knowledge bombs, and comparing the juicers so that you guys buy the right juicer for you. Link down below also to the previous video I did with the Shine unboxing, so you guys can see how this machine works and what you're getting when you get the Shine XL in further detail. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for YouTube visitors.